Brothers, welcome. Friday. I'm going to be doing some work stuff this afternoon, but I'm going to go to a cafe to do it. But I do have a little bit more fancy attire going on. And I'm starting off the vidski today, just outside the cathedral. Perfect place to start. Because I want to just briefly mention guidance. The concept of guidance, the necessity of guidance. Well, yeah, it is really a necessity, to be honest. So, obviously the cathedral is a place where people get spiritual guidance. But we need guidance, obviously, different areas of our life. And when you have a mountain to climb or a jungle to get through, having a guide is very useful. Having a guide is very useful. Okay. What characterizes a guide? What characterizes guidance? There's a few things. One of them is experience. That's actually the number one. This girl's one of them is experience. That's number one. You have to be guided by somebody who has actually walked the path, who has actually navigated this jungle, either with another guide themselves, often that's the case, or in some cases, someone who is a pioneer, who literally cut the path for you to walk through. So guidance is so important. On this channel I'll talk about a lot of different things, but one of the main focuses has obviously been cold approach. Yeah, on that front, you need guidance, to be honest. The other front as well, which is associated with that, it's another thing I talk about, is state. Your emotional state, your mental state. You also need guidance on that front as well. Well, most people do anyway. Where that comes from, kind of an open question. I always advocate Phil Parker. His course, The Lightning Process, will give you a level of control over your state and your mind. It's in my experiences as a true seeker of this type of stuff, it's completely unparalleled. So that's the mental side of things. Commercial, business. Who do we go to? There are actually so many fakes and frauds. This is a big issue. There are so many fakes and frauds on the business side of things. So who do you go to? Tricky question. You've got to shop around. Recommendations from friends. I've had a couple of books recommended to me recently, which actually have been very good. And I started to become slightly jaded. I've been self-employed for a long time, running my company for a long time. And you can hit periods of stagnancy. And I have turned to many books in the past, but you start to become jaded because, sorry. This place is starting to remind me of the Dominican Republic. I'll come back to why in a moment. You start to become jaded on the business front with all of these publications because they all say the same stuff. And there was a period of time for about 5-6 years where all it was impact over profit, impact. It was honestly almost like socialism had taken over the whole thing. It's like you have to want to do good in the world. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm not selling heroin. Like, my business is good. Just do you have any tips on actually how to improve it? That's what I'm paying, for the book for. And yeah, for a good 5-6 years, almost every book that you came across, after the old classics, almost every book was of that nature. So yeah, I've got some good recommendations recently, and it's actually been really useful. So that's on the business front. Guidance, training. I think training is one you need some basic guidance with to begin with. But once you know what you're doing, it's about intuition, training. You're actually letting your body guide you to an extent with what you need. What program works for you. When it comes to the art of romance and the ladies, and so let me just cross here. Relationships. Who is your relational guide? Yeah. Again, I think actually this is another one where that should be your own intuition more than anything else. What you know you want and what you know is right, that's what you want to go with. Let your conscience be your guide. There's going to vary depending on the situation, of course. You can't have really a guide to tell you how you should get through a period of grief or the birth of a newborn child, or polar opposite ends, obviously. You can't have a guide for those types of things, but for many things you can. A lot of the territories of the world have now been mapped. Most, really. The territories that are still not mapped anywhere near, first of all, is the territory of the human mind. The human mind has not been mapped in its totality at all. I think we've mapped very little, actually. A lot of progress has been made, but I think we've also lost a lot of stuff as well. So that's number one. The human mind, psychology. And then the territory that can never really be fully mapped is just the ever-evolving process in society, in business, in economics, culture. It can never truly be mapped because it's always evolving. So the human mind and human culture, I think those are the places where guides can be invaluable. So we'll leave things there. That was a nice warm-up video for my day today. Yeah, the reason I said this place is like the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is the only place I've been to where I'd go out and I'd be pissed off. It got to a point where I would be pissed off with the number of hot babes I would see. If you can imagine that was possible, if you live in the UK, it's almost unimaginable. The exact opposite happens, right? But here, I'm definitely not pissed off, but you run into the same issue of are you actually serious? Can I just go to my cafe without seeing are you actually joking? Are you actually joking? I'm just gonna start scanning. Bro, you can't. I'm seeing on the camera. You can't actually get what I'm seeing. In a way, I'm glad. Don't believe me? Yeah, never come here. Just leave them all to me. Nah, they wouldn't. Even in 3 lifetimes, I couldn't get through all of this. And no way. That's also a crazy thing as well when you think about it. You could get with a different girl every single day if that was your goal. Probably not a healthy goal. And that's only 365 per year. Okay, only. It's an absurd amount. Yeah, no one has probably ever achieved. But that's not much compared to the population of how many beautiful girls there are out there. So yeah, there's really are just an overabundance of beautiful women out there. Too many that you're never going to be able to even, and actually you wouldn't want to try. It's not supposed to be a scalable operation on that level. I'm literally seeing around me right now, there's one absolutely. You know what's also impressive as well? Some of the older women as well. Almost makes you want to get married. Like, yeah. I'd take my wife looking like that in 20 years. Absolutely gorgeous older women. Okay, well that's a little bit of a strange angle to finish on, but I just wanted to circle back around to that point. There are countries out there where it's actually hard to go about your day-to-day business at times. That's why I've got the shades on. Right, peace and love.